In the next verse, this is Niskarmyam api achyuta bhavavarchitam na sobhate jnanam phalam niranjanam सह पुनः शाश्वत अभद्रम ईश्वरे न च अर्पितम कर्म यत् अपि अकारणम. So it says that knowledge of the self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of the conception of infallible. So we have discussed this many times. Okay, so there are two things. Okay, we are not this material body, but we are spirit soul. So that is one aspect of understanding. Sometimes this Mayavadis and all, they know, okay, they are not body, they are spirit soul, but they don't have understanding of who is supreme personality of Godhead. So this kind of self-realization, okay, it may be free from material affinity. Okay, we are not this body, we are spirit soul, but it does not look well if it's devoid of conception of the infallible Lord. So that's why we don't appreciate Mayavadi philosophy. They're weak. Okay, they understand they are not this body, they're spirit soul. They also know there is God, but they consider themselves as God. So that statement which I always say is self-realization without God realization is incomplete. So what then is the use of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from the very beginning, transient by nature, if they are not utilized for the devotional service? So what is the use of any activity? Whatever activity you do in the material world, just like man work whole day, okay, and then we'll go through the second canto. So there, Sudhi Goswami tells, even the relatives, why children are thieves. But thieves, uh, from these thieves, we want that our money will get stolen. But there are other thieves through them, we don't want that our money gets stolen. So that is the only difference. Okay. So we work whole day and night in the company and all. That whole money goes for what? Others. Okay. So there may be others, maybe in terms of family members or whatever. They may not be a devotee. Of course, they are devotees and they are our duty. If they are not devotees, we should try to make them devotees gradually, not by lovingly, not by forcefully. तलवार रख के नहीं कर सकते जैसे मुस्लिम लोग. Sorry, I should not speak this, but तलवार रख के नहीं करते जैसे अर्लियर कुछ लोग तलवार रख के कन्वर्सन कर सकते, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. So that's the point. So it's fruitive activities. There are so many people that do fruitive activities. अरे ये करोगे तो स्वर्ग में जाओगे, अच्छी पत्नी मिलेगी, इंद्र की पूजा करोगे तो potency will increase and all those things. But if they are not meant for Krishna, then they are not useful at all. That's why Krishna says even the sex life which is utilized for producing the Krishna conscious child, that is non-different from Krishna. Sarma Viruddha Bhutesu Kamasmi Panasarshama 7.10, where Krishna tells this thing. So any activity, if it does not include Krishna, then that is considered as a useless. That is maybe Swami Vahi Kevalam. Even someone is talking Krishna Katha, but it is free from Krishna, then they are also considered as useless. So how? So there are so many, there are Mayavadis. Okay, they may talk about Bhagavad Gita, they may talk about Vedanta Sutra, so many other things, but they don't consider Krishna as existence. They consider themselves as a Krishna. That kind of Krishna Katha is useless. That's why Krishna says, that is Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Mayavadi Sunila Bhashya, Mayavadi Bhashya Sunila Hoy Sarvanas. Someone hear Mayavadi Bhashya on this Bhagavatam and Vedanta Sutra, or maybe, of course, Shankaracharya didn't write the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, but he has written a commentary on what should I say, Vedanta Sutra and Bhagavad Gita. So they are like a portion. So that if you are hearing that katha, that is like a drinking of milk mixed with the poison fetched by the snake. We should not hear the Bhagavatam from them. So that's what, if any activity which we do that is a devoid of Krishna, okay, they are transient by nature, painful and transient. So they will keep changing. आज कभी सुख है तो कभी दुख है. It will keep changing. Today you are rich, tomorrow you may be poor. So that will keep changing. But if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord, so they are not useful at all. What they say, it says even the liberation, conception of the self-realization, considered devoid. It is not. Uh, it is free from. Sorry, it does not uh, include the conception of the God. Then what to speak about fruitive activities, dharma, artha, kama? What about them? That's what Naradamuni is telling. So why he is telling this thing? Because Ved Vyas has written so much about karma kanda, jnana kanda, upasana kanda, liberation, but he has not exclusively glorified Supreme Lord. That's why he's telling to Vyasdev about his work. There is no use of it. Then says, Atho Mahabhaga Bhavan Ud Udhaka Suchi Strava Satya Rato Dhrata Urupramasya Akhila Bandha Uttaye Samadhi Nani Smara Tadvicheshtitam. So he says, Oh Vyasdev, your vision is completely perfect. You are firm in the vows and situated in truthfulness. Thus, you can think of the pastime of the Lord in a trance for the liberation of the people in general from the all material knowledge. So, one of the question was asked by who? Swamnath Rishi to Sud Goswami that what question was asked? That uh, uh, what is the inspiration behind writing Srimad Bhagavatam? So, this is the inspiration behind why Vyasdev wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. What was the inspiration for Vyasdev? There are four set of questions. One was regarding the history of Bhagavatam. Second was what was the inspiration for the Vyasdev to write Bhagavatam. Third was about Sukdev Goswami, how people recognized him and all. Fourth question was that regarding Parikshit Maharaj. He was a great king. Then why he left everything is also no, okay. He has everything. What he was meant for the welfare of people in general. Then why he left everything and sat on the bank of Ganges fast until death? All those questions were asked. One of the question is being answered out of them. What is the inspiration behind the writing Srimad Bhagavatam? Okay. So this is the inspiration that why Vyasdev wrote Bhagavatam. So Naradamuni is inspiring him. Okay, so we'll continue. So then in the next verse he says, तथो अन्यथा किंचन यदि वक्षतः तत्कृतरूपनामभि न करचित्वापि च दुष्टितमतिर्लभेतवताहत not sudden. So whatever you desire, describe whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts into different forms, names and results. To agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. So in the previous verse he says that, oh no, in the previous verse he says, your vision is completely perfect, your good hand is spotless, you are firm in vow. So that's why you can think of the passion of the Lord in a trance for the liberation of the people in general from the material bondage. Naradamuni knew he is not ordinary person. So in the next verse he says that whatever you desire to describe, so if you have desire to describe, that is separate in vision from the Lord. So whatever you describe, if that is not in relation to Supreme Lord, then it will simply react. React means it may create a misery, it may agitate your mind. Okay. So how? So anything separate means that with a different form, names, and result, agitate the mind as the wind agitates the boat which has no resting place. So if you describe anything separate from Krishna, that is going to create a reaction. That's going to create agitate your mind. As soon as the mind is agitated, then there are so many problems. Okay. So agitation of mind is like agitation of the boat which has no resting place. So why it is? Because if you describe something else from the Krishna, that is not stable. It will keep changing. अरे आज जेके रोलिंग का चल रहा था हैरी पॉटर अभी तो बंद हो गया पता नहीं कल कुछ और आएगा it will keep changing because the description which is separate from Krishna has no stability. That's why it agitates the mind. So why? So now he's so in this verse he gave the explanation. In the previous verse he gave the explanation that why he should describe about the Lord. And then he said, "Jugupshitam dharma krute नुशासतः स्वभावरुक्तस्य महान् प्रतिक्रमः यदा वाक्यतो धर्म इति रतः स्थितो न मन्यते तस्य निवारणं जनाः." People in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of the religion. So, of course, Vyasa has written the code of conduct. In that also he mostly described about karma kanda and all those things. So anyway, people are inclined towards enjoyment, and by describing them, as the most of the part of the Veda, you are encouraging people to enjoy more, which is going to harmful them, going to be harmful for them. This is verily condemned. It is quite unreasonable. So Naradamuni is telling us that the Vedas, which is describing about karma kanda and all, which is going to agitate the minds of the people, and people are anyway inclined to enjoy. By writing this way, you have encouraged them more to enjoy separate from Krishna for personal sense gratification. That is quite condemned and unreasonable. Because they are guided under your instruction, they will accept such activities in the name of religion. So these kind of activities, this is also not perfect religion. Okay. This is like karma kanda, so that will be accepted as a religion and will hardly care for prohibition. Now people will just focus on enjoyment. प्रोहिबिशन तो भूल ही जाएंगे 10 चीजें बोलते हैं एक चीज नहीं करना था चाहते हो 10 चीजें के साथ एक भी कर ही लेते हैं right? So in the next verse it says that विचक्षणो अस्याहर्ति वेदतुं विभोर अनंत पारस्य निवृत्तित सुखम प्रवर्तमानस्य गुणे गुणे अनात् मनस ततो भवान दर्शय चेष्टितम विभो. Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality retired from the activities of material happiness deserve to understand this knowledge of spiritual value. But who can understand? Those who are retired from the material happiness, they deserve to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. Okay. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness. To the description of the transcendental activities of the Lord. Okay. So, the Supreme Lord is unlimited. Read it carefully. Only a very expert personality. And who are those? Who are retired from the activities of material happiness. They are free from this material attachment and all. They deserve to understand this knowledge of the spiritual. They can understand, they deserve. Okay. So, but not everyone. There are few personalities. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization. And what is that way? By your goodness, through the description of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. If you give them the Krishna Katha that you gave, okay, then what will happen? They will get a way of transcendental realization. Who they? Those who are materially attached. those who are materially attached, those who are not so much well situated, for them the only solace is what? Krishna Katha for the transcendental realization. That's what is Narada's opinion. So it is telling. Then he says, "Tyakta dharma charanam bhuja bhare भजन आप अपकु अथ पते ततो यदि यत्र क्व वा भद्रम भुजम पुष्यतिं को वाथ आपतो अभुजितां स्वधर्मतः." So one who has forsaken his material occupation to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in the immature state, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. These questions was asked by Arjuna also in Bhagavad Gita. What he says in the Bhagavad Gita? So he asked that what is the what yogi, progressing in the path of yoga is very difficult. So there is a chance that he says for one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who try by appropriate means is assured of success. Is my opinion. Krishna is telling. Then Arjuna is asking, "Oh Krishna, what is the destination of unsuccessful transcendentalists who takes to the process of self-hate, but who later desist due to the worldly mindedness and thus does not attain the perfection in this vision?" There are so many people who come on the path of spiritual life, but they some fall down. In the beginning, is very enthusiastic, but later will fall down. Then he continued, "Does not such a man, who is bewildered from the path of transcendence, fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any spheres?" So Arjuna is telling, अरे इसको राम भी नहीं मिला और दाम भी नहीं मिला, ना घर का रहा ना खाट का, तो क्या होगा? So then Arjuna is saying, "This is my doubt of Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt." So then Krishna tells, "O son of Prutha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activity does not meet with a destruction, either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil." The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planet of pious living entity, is born into family of righteous people or into the family of rich aristocracy. Or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in the family of Vaishnava or transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in the world. And on taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of the previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve the complete success of Krishna consciousness. And he says, by the virtue of divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principle even without seeking them. So automatically bhakti ki और वो आकर्षित हो जाएगा. So such an inquisitive transcendentalist stand always above the ritualistic principle of the scripture. So already Krishna is talking about it. Of course, Krishna also tells in the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, 40th verse, Niha vikramanasti pratyavayana vidyate sarvam pyasya dharmasya prayate mahatmaya. Little bit progress made on the spiritual path will never diminish. So let's say someone has completed 10% progress in this life and he dies. And after that he stops bhakti. So in the next life it again begins from 11%. Because you don't have to start from zero. It begins from 11. So 10% is already there. So that is what Naradamuni is telling. That one who has forsaken his material occupation to engage in a devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duty, does not gain anything. So if you are doing your material duty perfectly, but you are not doing any bhakti, then then that person don't get anything. Okay, so in the next verse he says that the seva heto prayate tatko vido न लभ्यते यद भ्रमता पर यथा लभ्यते दुख वद अन्यतः सुखम कालेन सर्वत्र गंभीर प्रहंसा। कोविड सर भागवत में बताया था पहले से। So then he says, person who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for the purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet down to the lowest planet. ब्रह्मा लोका से लेकर पाताल लोक तक घूमने के बाद भी अगर जो नहीं मिलता है तो ऐसे endeavor, तो ऐसा क्या है कहने का मतलब, as far as happiness derived from the sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in the course of time. So today you may be happy, tomorrow may be uh, unhappy. That's what Krishna says in second chapter, 14th verse. Matra sparsastu konteya sitosva sukha dukkha agama payino nitya stantitikso bharata. So happiness and miseries are like winter and summer. They will keep automatically come and go. You should not strive to get happiness. It will come automatically. Just like the misery is coming automatically. Okay. So that's what it's telling, that as far as happiness derived from the sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time. Just as in the course of time, we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. So we should endeavor for the devotional service, which it cannot be obtained even by wandering from topmost planet down to the lowest planet of Patal. Okay. So those who are intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from topmost planet down to the lowest planet of Patal. In the next verse, he says, Navejano jatu katha chana braje mukunda sevayan vadagam sanskruti swaranam mukunda anka yud baguhan punah vihatul ichena rasagraho janaha. So, my dear Vyas, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes fall down, somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like a fruity workers. The devotee fall down, they will not suffer like a fruity workers. Because a person who has once released the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. So even sometimes, in the beginning we have a lot of taste for the bhakti, and in a due course of time we may not get the taste from the Lord, but we will keep hankering for it. अरे इतना अच्छा लगा था भक्ति करके अभी नहीं मिल रहा. So we'll hanker again and again, again and again. Not forget that. That will hold you at the lotus feet of Krishna. So it may possible that sometimes fall down somehow or other, but he does not undergo the material existence like other fruity workers. They have to suffer. Okay. So that is the glory of Krishna Katha. Then he says, Idam hi visvam bhagwan ivetaro yato jagat sthani nirudha sambhavaha Ita swayam veta bhavam tathapi se pravesa matram bhavata pradarsitam. Say the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead is himself, this cosmos, still is aloof from it. So what does it mean? Okay, it has been created from the Krishna's energy, but still he is not within him. So that we had discussed in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So he has created, but it's not within him, just like a company's owner. Okay, he has made plants. He's not personally present in that plant, but by the order of that owner, everyone is working. So like that. He's not different from that company, but still is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated. In him it rests, and to him it enters after annihilation. Your good self know all about these things, and I have given only a synopsis. So how this material world has been created. So I'm not going in this detail, this part. How it will be maintained. So Vyasa knows everything. So the Narada I'm just giving you synopsis. Synopsis. Please you describe them in detail. So in the next verse, he says that Swam Atmana Atmanam Aveha Amoga Drik Parasya Pumsha Paramatmanah Kalam Ajam Prajatam Jagata Sivayatan Mahanubhava Rujayo Ajiganyatam. So he says that your goodness is perfect vision. You yourself can know the supreme super sure personality of Godhead because you are present as the plenary person of the Lord. So he's telling you know everything because you are also the you know you are plenary person of the Lord. Vyasa is also avatar of the Lord. Although you are birthless, he will appear on this earth for the well-being of the people. Please therefore describe the transcendental pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, more vividly. Exclusively and enough descriptions should be there of Lord Krishna. So that's how Narada is inspiring. He says, Zamhi pumsa tapasutasya va sishtasya tuktasya cha buddhi tayo vichuto artham kavi bhinna rupito yad uttama sloka guna that fallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerity study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of the hymn, charity, culminate in the transcendental description of the Lord who is defined in choice poetry. So whatever you do, austerity, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of the hymn, charity, whatever activity you do, that should be culminate in the transcendental description or devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's very, very important. Okay. Uttama shloka gunanumvarna. This is the word. So whatever description you are doing, that should be in relation to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then it is the culminates. Okay. Then he says, Aham Puratitam Have Abhava Mune Dasyastu Kasyaschana Vedavati Nam Nirupito Balak Eva Yoginam Suskusane Prabhushi Vikshatam. He says, Oh Muni, in the last millennium, I was born as the son of certain maid servant engaged in the service of the Brahmana who were following the principle of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of rainy season, I engaged in their personal service. So now, till now, Narad Muni has explained the Vyasa. He has given him the knowledge and explanation. Now Narad Muni is describing his personal example that how he has taken a birth from the womb of maid servant, and he was engaged in the service of Mahabhagavatas. That will be seen tomorrow onwards. So then he says that he was daily hearing from those Mahabhagavata who were doing the Krishna Katha. Now Narad Muni is going to give his own example. Then how he become Narada from the son of maid to Narada. उसका transformation कैसे हुआ from the son of maid to Devarshi Narada. Well, how the transformation happened that Narad Muni is going to describe henceforth from this verse onwards. So till now, first we discussed that how importance of the description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the Narad Muni beyond the. Okay, so thank you very much. So we'll stop here. If you have any question, comment, feedback, you can unmute and ask.